Hey guys, Brian delivers you the goods here. I just thought I'd return to you this late afternoon, into evening time now on September 11th for a long-awaited studio album review that we've been waiting for Icy Stars, The Wheel. This is the sixth studio album, and this is their first album in 9 years since their last record, Treehouse. So I'm going to discuss what I listened to for the 14 songs on this record overall. They did drop 6 singles, by the way, which I will be talking about it as we go through the record and the songs on the record. And I'll let you know my thoughts on The Wheel overall, the sixth studio album by Icy Stars. So let's dive into this album review. Now it starts with Spin It, which is a 27-second track. It overall starts this record with clicking noises, like slot kind of noises, and then at the end there's a dinging uh, congratulations noise or whatever it is. I don't know what you call it. But other than that, it's a 5 out of 5. I did enjoy the intro track, the 27-second song. Then comes The Wheel, which is a 2-minute song. Millie, give me a second, I gotta pause the video. Sorry about that, guys. I was trying to call my dog for a second while I was doing the video. But yeah, to get back on track, yeah, The Wheel is a 2-minute song, and it overall is a pretty good song. I think Devin Oliver's singing potential in this was pretty good, along with the shouting moments from his singing. Did very strong, and the drumming and guitar work is pretty good in this. Doesn't have a lot of electronics, but it has some of it. So overall, it's a 5 out of 5. Eliminator was the sixth single for the record, and it overall was the last single for the record. And from what I listened to, I enjoyed this track. It is still my personal favorite song when I reviewed it on July 28th, because I know the song did come out July 29th of 2025. It overall is still my personal favorite track. I like Devin Oliver's singing potential in this record on this song, for this song, basically. And it execution-wise did very well. So it was probably my favorite song, and it's a 5 out of 5. Damage Done was, I believe, the fourth single for the record, and it is a pretty strong track for sure. It was a song that came out in 2023, keep in mind, like 2 years ago, but it overall was a pretty good song. I still enjoy this track for Devin Oliver's singing moments, and the verses were pretty strong. Chorus was the highlight, 5 out of 5. Float is another track that I enjoyed. Sorry, that's my cat using his cat scratching post thing or whatever. So, Float was a very strong song. I really enjoyed Devin Oliver's monotone singing and also his regular singing in this track, and his high pitched singing was pretty strong at the end of it. So, this track was enjoyable. It's a 5 out of 5. Drift is the second single for the record, and it overall did pretty well for the execution. Sorry, my dog is looking at something and barking at something, about to bark at something. Sorry about that. Just trying to get her to be silent a little bit, but I guess not. It's fine. But she is a sweetheart, my dog Millie. But yeah, Drift, to get back on track, is a pretty strong track. I really enjoyed Devin Oliver's moments with his rapping and his regular singing and shout scream singing in a way. It did very well for the execution, so really enjoyed this song. It was the second single for the record that came out in, I think it was like March or something of 2023. It was somewhere around there, but other than that, 5 out of 5. Are We Even was the third single for the record, and it is a pretty strong record, pretty strong track, I meant to say. I'd give this a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this song. The execution to the track was pretty swift and pretty strong, and overall, It's a 5 out of 5. I think Devin Oliver's singing potential in this is really good. And as the third single alone, it's a very strong single for sure. So the electronics fuse well with the melody, and everything else about the track did very well. 5 out of 5. Floodlight is another pretty good one that I enjoyed. I'd give this a 5 out of 5. I like Devin Oliver's singing potential, and execution wise, this did very well for how it sounded overall. So, 5 out of 5. Um, the overall melody structure was really interesting in this track that I can really get on board with. So, I was definitely liking this track. 5 out of 5. Carry On For You is a solid track. I know they're going to have a music video for this tomorrow at 11 a.m., but I don't think it's one of my favorite songs. It's probably the least favorite for the record, but it's not the worst track. It's still a pretty good song, but there's some execution flaws as you progress through the track, like the verses being the weakest parts, some of the chorus being a little weak. But overall, it's solid. So 4.75 out of 5. Split is a very good track. This took a little time to grow on me because of the melody and all that. There was a lot of electronics in this track, but it did very well for how it sounded. Um, as I kept listening to it, as I go through, when I used to listen to all 6 singles as a whole, this was probably a pretty strong track in its own way. So it's a 5 out of 5. I really enjoyed Split. It took a lot of time to grow on me, but as of now, I could say I really enjoy this track. Lost It featuring Play Royale is a really good track. I really like both Remington and Devin Oliver's harmonizing vocals in this. I mean, when he tries to sing the second aspect of the chorus, second part of the chorus, that part where Remington tries to scream uh, way out or whatever, or something like that, it doesn't really execute too well, but other than that, the track did very well for how it sounded. I really dig this track. It's a 5 out of 5. After Dark is another really good song that I enjoyed. I can say that I really like this track. Devin Oliver's singing potential in this is pretty strong, and execution wise, this track did very well for how the verses were sounding. The chorus was pretty simple, and it overall executed very well. 5 out of 5. Anomaly is the first single for the record. It was released the same time as Drift was, and it's a pretty strong track for what I listened to. I'd give it a 5 out of 5. I think execution wise, it did very well overall. The melody and the production in this is pretty strong, along with the choir chant vocals in the background sounding very strong with the When I Let It Go thing. So I really dig this track. 5 out of 5. And finally, we get to the closing track, Curtain Call, which is a really strong track. The overall verses were very strong. The chorus was a memorable highlight, but it overall executed very well. The ending to the track was pretty strong with Devin Oliver's singing potential, sounding really strong with his high pitched singing. So I really dig that aspect about it. And this track was a great closing track, so 5 out of 5 goes to Curtain Call. Overall, production, mixing, and execution wise, I would say I See Stars the Wheel is another favorite record that I was very hyped up for, and the hype was worth it. I mean, granted, they probably shouldn't have released 6 singles, but hey, we still got other tracks that I still enjoyed through this record as I kept listening to it. But overall, with the execution of this record, um, most of the tracks did work. The only one I had an issue with was Carry On For You. That was not a terrible track, but it's still pretty good in its own way. So, if I were to give I See Stars' sixth studio album, The Wheel, a score, I'm feeling a 9.5 out of 10. It's a really good record. I definitely recommend you guys check this out when it comes out at midnight tonight. And overall, yeah, I See Stars, The Wheel album is getting a 9.5 out of 10. I will return to you for more album reviews as soon as I can, but until then, 9.5 out of 10 for I See Stars the Wheel. Thanks for watching this album review this afternoon.